The People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, presents Nation Watch.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Nation Watch, a production of the People's National Congress Reform. I am Marvin Williams, your host for today's Sunday, 4th December 2022. We're discussing today political domination, the city of Georgetown under siege. With me today in studio is my guest, His Worship Ubraj Narine, Mayor of the city of Georgetown. Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you. I attempted to get you earlier when you were not within the jurisdiction, but your deputy quite satisfactorily represented your office. I want to start today by quoting Article 9 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. It says, sovereignty belongs to the people who exercise it through their representatives and the democratic organs established under this Constitution. Do you get a sense, Mr. Mayor, that this provision of our Constitution with respect to the exercise of sovereignty on behalf of the people who elected you is being satisfied, is being respected, is being enabled?
I will say to that question, not to a full 100% because of resources.
All right, so we'll get down to resources in a bit, but could you enlighten our viewers? I know that there are 15 constituencies in the city of Georgetown. That constitutes 60 seats on the city council. Could you, for the benefit of our viewers...
30 seats.
30 seats.
Yes. So yeah. I'll give you a breakdown. Presently at the city council, we have 30 seats. The allocation APNU is 21 seats. The AFC, 2 seats. And PPPC, 7 seats, which when you add it up, you'll get 30 seats.
All right, so your 21 seats it presents quite a sizable majority.
Yes.
Some in the region of 70% of the seats are held by the APNU.
Right.
While the PPP comes in a distant second with something around 23.3% of those seats. Now, you have a significant majority. In the National Assembly, there's a 1-seat majority which is enjoyed by the government. That 1-seat majority allows, or I wouldn't say allows, but is used by the government to ensure that all of its objectives are satisfied, are achieved. They pass whatever bills, motions, budgets they require using that 1-seat majority, and they, through the executive, implement those decisions. You at the city council, with 70% of the seats, you will pass your motions. But do you get a sense that the government supports or provides the enabling environment for the Georgetown Mayor and City Council to implement the decisions taken by council?
No. I can say this much. We had passed many motions at the level of the city council. And with also dialogue with the PPP councillors. We had caucuses we discussed before we enter in that chamber with the PPP representative as well. And they will vote for some motions, and government, when we forward it to the Minister of Local Government, that will be on his desk for numerous months. And we presently have one of that motion, which is the city in need immediately, is a littering bylaws, which is almost coming to a year now. And the minister did respond to us and said, look, we have to make some amendments. And he outlined those clauses in the littering bylaws. And we did make the amendments, and we took it back to council. Council voted, and we sent that back to the Honorable Minister of Local Government. However, that still sits on his desk. I know for a few weeks he make mention on the littering bylaws where we have to do enforcement of the EPA Act However, City Council is not subject to the EPA. The EPA is an agency by itself, and City Council is a semi-autonomous body which should have its own bylaws and regulations to deal with littering enforcement in the city.
I have a question on this littering bylaws issue. Central government and the National Police Force some time ago took a decision that they were going to prosecute persons found littering in the city of Georgetown. A responsibility which I understand falls within the remit of the city constabulary. Now, here you are, you have presented as a council your proposed city council's littering bylaws, which have not yet been considered or approved.
Right.
Littering is a problem.
Huge problem.
The naming and shaming, the photographing and publication of people's images who have been found littering, it started with a significant amount of interest, and it has subsided. The city is again facing serious consequences from littering. How do you view the minister's non-action in this regard?
It's a sabotage to the city. And why I said that, we had these discussions before when the new government took office. And I said to the minister, are you willing to work with any government, and I'm saying it here again, for the betterment of the citizenry of Georgetown? And I outlined to His Excellency numerous things that we need to be fixed. And one was littering. And he said, look, do the bylaws. We did the bylaws, we sent it. Now you're saying to the public, we have to do enforcement. Enforcement of what? Yes, the city constabulary will arrest a person and place them before the court. Now the court will determine what that person should be fined for. But if you got a clear direction within a bylaws, well, you can able to give this individual a ticket to pay the ticket within 24 hours. And if that person do not pay the ticket, then you move to the courts. However, when you go to the court, most of these cases, they get fined maybe $10,000. And sometimes the case dismissed. So all of these things happen because of lacking of proper bylaws, policies, and regulations within the city. And for me, the Minister of Local Government ought to put these things in place at the level of the legislation house, which is the National Assembly Parliament, so that we at the level of the local authorities will able to enforce those policies and bylaws at various municipalities and NDCs. But that is not happening. What you see happening today is that the government, the ministers, president himself coming out and going in the community in various constituency, doing the municipality and the NDC work. And that show blatantly the PPP government don't have regards for democracy in our country. They bypass the NDC, the municipality, and they do their own thing within various constituency. If you have a chain of command, you should able to notify the municipality, the elected councillor, and then we work from there. But you find that the ministers doing the local government work. And I believe they should have really served at the level of the municipalities and the NDC before they have been sitting in a minister office and occupy the seat when they themselves has to put policies and bylaws in place to help the local authorities to function properly.
Article 12 of the Constitution of Guyana says that, and I quote, local government by freely elected representatives of the people is an integral part of the democratic organization of the state. Do you see government action at the level of the executive as being in direct conflict with this provision of the Constitution?
Yes, big conflict. the PPP government has no respect for local democracy, and they have a history of that. And the level of the city council, I will speak on the city council. Um, we've been sabotaged, we've been stifled by this government in terms of resources. I had pleaded numerous times to the president, many letters sent to the president, many proposals sent to the president about the cemetery, Lapentire Cemetery, a modern proposal, modern infrastructure for the cemetery, and those letters went unanswered. Same thing with the ministers of government. They the government has no regards to local democracy, and for, let me put it in this way, has no regards to democracy in our country. They speak democracy, but they do not act upon democracy. And when we tends to do this within our society, like the example the government is showing, it is bad for any good government, right? They will carry a name which they've been dictated in their own ways. And every national events, anything happen within the city, the government bypass the city council, not even a letter to notify the council, or a call from the minister's office or the president's office. Yes, I know you have executive power. I know you are the authority in certain areas, but don't forget you're preaching democracy, and you should stand and live by that what you're preaching. So the PPP government has no regards to local democracy. They have been stifled the city council in many ways.
So this issue of the littering bylaws, the littering bylaws, as I understand them, would provide an opportunity for revenue inflows for the city council
That's right.
to do its operational works. Not so long ago, there was a national event, specifically, I think it was called Cricket Carnival, where the president himself chaired the carnival committee. And on that committee, there were a number of members of the executive. I believe the Minister of Youth and others formed part of that committee. Did the city council benefit in any way from A, consultation, B, an opportunity to garner revenues as it usually would from Mashramani and other similar events, and C, was the municipality involved in a meaningful way in the after event activities as a form of revenue earning?
Zero. We did not get invite or be invited to that committee. I tried to reach out because of the sale of spots within the city. The city council has total control, whether public road or the city council road. It is stated very clearly in the 2801 in street sellers bylaws that whether public building, government building, private building, the city council is the one who in charge of those spots. I I reached out and there was no response. However, all events that hold or held in the city of Georgetown during that carnival period was unauthorized by the city. And that is setting a bad precedent, bad example for the city of Georgetown. Because as a citizen, if they go and act illegally, they will have to face the consequence. They will have to face the courts. They will have to face the laws. While we have a government, while we have a government who is boycotting the laws, who is sabotaging the laws, who is diverting from the laws, and then they preach about democracy. So we benefit zero from carnival activities.
And that barring from benefits constitutes an illegality.
Of course, and I will give you this example. Recently, at an event that the government decided to hold, and I did instruct one of the council's attorney at law to write the attorney general um, a legal letter, and he did so, and I had engagement with the Attorney General. And I said to him that we need to work together. There is a city government and there is a central government. Central government operates within the city government. And the city government ought to know about the development and what engagement, both nationally and locally, what is happening within the city. You must get respect for the local authorities. And that is one thing I can say with the APNU AFC, and this is not because I'm a part of the PNC, I am saying this. They always send a letter, always engage the city council, always have us as a member of any committee. If not myself, it will be one of the technical officer. So the technical officer will be able to advise and able to bring back a report to the council, to brief us, to know exactly what is happening. But this government, for example, you have the minister within the Ministry of Public Works. I can't recall his name, but he feels he's a powerhouse. He feels he's a boss. You know, he's more than the president, and he will call the officers them directly to instruct them. Same thing you will have the Minister of Local Government doing. They will call the officers, direct them. So if City Council took a decision, well, we could go this direction, they will call and say, look, we go in this direction. So they actually control the administration of the council. And you should know for a fact that as a semi-autonomous body, we do not have the authority as a council to discipline fired and hired staff. But we have to find the salary, the gratuity, the pension, the NIS, and every dues that belongs to an officer, we have to pay it at the level of the city. Taxpayer money, but we do not control them. While they put in place a local government commission, which government has majority on, they control the admin. And when now we took a decision, they will threaten the officer, invite them for a meeting, and they will say, if you don't follow the government policy or redirection, you will be fired or be demoted. Many of the officers who've been to those meetings come back to me personally in my office and say, Mr. Mayor, we work here very long. We don't want to do this, but we want to secure our pension or gratuity. We have a family. We have to put food on our table. And this is the direction we get. And they say, if we need carry it out, they're going to send us home or demote us. The local government commission threatened officer many times. So the level of the city council, our hands are tied. And many people don't know this. They thought that, oh, we can hire the engineer. We can fire the engineer. We can remove the town clerk. We can remove the... No, we can't. We even can't discipline these people. So you imagine what we are facing at the level of the city council.
What does the council intend to do about these kinds of illegalities, these kinds of imposition that augment against the best interests of the management of the city?
Well, in that way, we took the local government commission to court, the act, for a certain clause of the act, and I hope that we can able to get a ruling on that. It's almost 5 months now. That matter is before the court, and I hope that we can able to get something positively from that matter. If not, I said to the council, if I do not get the justice from the High Court, that we will take straight to the CCJ, because it is illegal and it's undemocratic for a semi-autonomous body to operate without controlling the staff of that organization.
I looked at that some time ago, and it seems to me there's a little leeway that the government is taking advantage of. A question of interpretation. I think the best determinant for that is the court. Under the APNU AFC administration, a number of pieces of local government related legislations were passed. One bit of legislation was the Fiscal Transfer Act, which was established to ensure fair and equitable distribution of resources subventions and other resources to local authority areas. Has the Georgetown Mayor and City Council benefited from the promulgation of this act? Has this act served you any purpose?
The act is there. This is one thing I make mention to the government as well about. And if we really follow that act, the Fiscal and Transfer Act, the government ought to give the municipality of Georgetown closely to 600 to 700 million Ghana dollars a year. However, that is in terms of subvention. The government only give the city council 30 million. 30 million Ghana dollars a year, which is no kind of money, right? And that act is dormant for the PVP government.
That's quite interesting. A few months ago, in addition to this stifling, this withholding of subventions, a few months ago, your records indicated that government agencies owe the city council in excess of $85 million.
Over $1 billion.
Over $1 billion now.
A billion. It's over $1 billion.
So there's been no move to settle these debts?
Well, yes, we did discuss that, and I believe some of the ministry at this point of time, I can see some of them is coming forward to pay those taxes, and because it is something long overdue. And I saw the same powerhouse minister within the Ministry of Public Works make mention, you're doing roads. And so if the Ministry of Public Works pays our tax, we will be able to do many roads in the city. And if they're able to give us the rightful resources, you have all the vessels land in the port of Georgetown, the city council gets zero, right? All these things was negotiated with the APNU AFC government, and we was getting away. But since this government took office, they squash everything. You have the vessels in the city, like land at the port of Georgetown, or to pay the city council something. Which developed nation? And when you hear the vice president speak on,
which of the vice presidents?
The vice president, Dr. Jagdeo,
vice president, the second vice president.
Yeah, okay. Make mention that development of the nation, development is only for a circle, and the president is a circle. It's not one guy, and it's a circle. He said one circle, and as long you in the circle, you benefit. If you're out the circle, you have nothing to get. So development in our city, look at our markets. I lobby many times for proper development in our markets. You create you infrastructure in terms of hotels and different businesses coming to the city, but we need to focus on getting our markets in a modern way. We need parking lots. I identify some areas which we can able to put parking lots in the city. The redevelopment project for Starbrook Market, I don't know if you ever saw that project. Fantastic project. The IDB, the CDB, all willing to support that project. The private sector had sanctioned that project in 2019. And private sector is on board with that project. That project was submitted to the then government and this government. But this government also doing nothing about it. We need to focus on those kind of development. Then you can say, well, we will move to Dubai.
In terms of collection of rates, you had initiated as a council a move to enhance your rate collection through a process, I believe, of valuation or revaluation. What is the position with that, and have you benefited from any enhanced rate collection in that regard?
Well, I can say this much to you. The process that we established is called a amnesty. We draft the amnesty policy, a policy which give the council authority or a committee and the administration, where this never had done in any council first in history. That policy is on the website of the Mayor and City Council, is online, and that policy guide you. If you maybe $5 million and your interest is $3 million, there's a form you applied and you submit the requested documentation, and the committee look at it and the admin look at it as well. And if you do not, how we update our records, many of the properties within the city of Georgetown is like the person's like the 10th or the 12th owner, but the first owner still is on the account. So that is one way we use also. Before you change the name of that account, you have to go get a valuation. And when you automatically, they go and get the valuation and bring the valuation, the value for the property increase because they never had done any form of valuation. And that's why, again, the act called the Valuation and Rating Purposes Act state very clearly every 5 years, the valuation division of the finance minister has to do a revaluation in the city and other local authorities, other areas. So that didn't done for the past 20 something years. The last was done since 1996. So you still got businesses on Regent Street and Rob Street pay 6,000 and 10,000, 15,000 a year taxes.
So tell our viewers, tell us about the issue of compliance, certificate of compliance for the transfer of property. What is involved, and does the council benefit materially?
All right, good. Now the compliance is a huge issue we battle in court recently between the AG office and the bar association and so on, and private citizens. The compliance policy was introduced in 1994 by Professor Rose. I don't know if you can recall when Dr. Chetty Jagan had put an interim body headed by Professor Rose. And he had introduced a 0.2 or 0.3% on the property value to gain a compliance. Because what he had saw then, that people used to get these compliance in a tricky way, where you apply for compliance and you can even be in your house and you get your house, somebody you sell your house, or apply for prescriptive rights. So the same pattern we follow, but we increase that 0.53 to 0.5. And the bar association and so on took us to court. Only recently, the matter still we appeal the matter and so on in court. Only recently we received a letter from the bar association threatened the city council that the document that we are requesting at this point of time, bear in mind the court rule that we cannot charge anything for compliance. But you have the NDCs and the other municipalities charging 10,000 and so on for compliance, 7,000, 6,000, so the NDC. But the city council can't charge nothing. We get zero. That is how this government stifling the city council. So what we ask for still and maintain a certified copy of the transport, a certified copy of your identification card or your passport to prove that you are the owner for this property, your rates and taxes receipt. And I believe if you're a power or power of attorney for someone, we ask for a certified copy of those things so we can able to give the compliance or prepare the compliance in the right way. The Bar Association wrote to this council and said, look, you don't have the authority to ask for any of these documents. So it brings us back straight to in the 90s, that where people can go and apply for prescriptive rights, where people can sell people's property and get a compliance and transfer it. And these are the crookishness is taking place under this government. And you have certain agencies backing the government because real estate is a big thing within the city right now. You may not see it, the viewers may not see it, but real estate in this city is very huge. And I will tell you this one main reason for this kind of cleaning up exercise is to identify lands and property, derelict property within the city that the government will move soon to take over, right? So many people don't know that, but the government has an aim, and the aim is to get properties within the city of Georgetown for their own purpose and benefit. And now we are trying to protect people's property by just asking for these documents, a certified copy of the transport, because only recent 2 weeks ago, I dealt with a matter where this woman lived at the front house, but she paying taxes as well at the back house, which is a derelict building. And the building was sold to somebody. They get a new transport while she has the old transport. And she coming with the old transport.
And being charged taxes.
Yes. So this is what is we facing in the city. We are not the courts, we are not the registrar, but we got these things to deal with at the level of the municipality. So we put a system to bar that. You must go to the court and get a certified copy of this transport and bring it to us. So we will be on the safe side. Because a citizen can able to take us to court, we issue compliance to Tom, while Jerry owned the property. We will get sued. But the government and other agencies that attach and support the government in the wrongdoings feel that the city council is putting up a wall on certain things. We have to. And if we don't do it, the poor citizen of Georgetown will face the consequence because they will live in a property and the property will be sold.
Whoa. This is heavy stuff, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, it is.
And throughout national events, the issue of subvention, the issue of rates and rates collection, the issue of compliance issuance, and all of these different activities, the mayor and city council of Georgetown is starved of much needed resources. The same central government that starves the MNCC of revenues, which would enable it to do its job, turns around and condemns and criticizes the mayor and city council for not doing what it is statutorily required to do, while central government violates a whole host of statutes in suppressing the functions of the mayor and city council. Is there a remedy that you see before you outside of a change of government? Do you see an interim remedy?
Well, I can say this much. I took office in 2019. The no confidence motion of the APNU AFC took place in 2018. And I still was able to lobby government, the then government, and the then President, His Excellency David Granger, and the then Minister of Local Government, Ronald Bolkan, for the city. And we was able to get a lot of things done within that short period of time. With this government, I have all my letters. I can show the public that I lobby tremendously in various ways to get help from government, resources. And if the city given the right resources, we will do the same job, not only 3 times a month, but we will able to do the same job that what the president and other ministers is currently going out there and do every 3 months. We will do it every day, right? But we lack of resources. If we get the same equipment, why you got 20 trucks and 6 excavators? Give us those equipments, and we will get the work done. But if you don't give us the equipment, how will we get the work done? And then you come out and say, look, we've got this cleanup. And the private sector commission, I don't want to speak much on them, but they have been biased in all corners of in a democratic nation. All corners of the private sector have been biased in a democratic
That's
nation.
the commission.
The private sector commission. Because you see the city starving, you see the city trying, but yet don't offer a help to the city. While I reach out many times to the GCCI, I can say the then president of the GCCI, Nicholas Boyer, he had done some tremendous, give us some tremendous help at the council. I want to give him credit under his leadership. Nicholas Boyer, he had done some tremendous things within the city for us, help us out to forget certain things. We had signed an MOU with him for taxes and so on. Since he had left the GCCI as a president, we never get any kind of help from the GCCI. while we are still trying to engage GCCI and the Private Sector Commission for a way forward. I believe the private sector need to play an integral part of all agencies, not only the government of the day. And that is why I say they are biased. They need to play a part in the city and in the various constituencies where they have over 5,000 membership. Why not come on board? Why not show an independency of the agency, which is the Private Sector Commission? Why only lean on government side alone? And they're showing their hands. I believe the private sector should and shall be aware of the independency and able to help the city as well. They have the capacity to come on board and help us. They have the resources to help us because the private sector benefit tremendously from the city. They get all uses of the city, and they should be a part and parcel of every decision making of the city, which I have said this to them. But if you are penning on the government shoulder and just taking us and shove us on the carpet, what you expected me to say publicly, you're biased in every corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, you tune to Nation Watch, a production of the People's National Congress Reform. I'm your host, Marvin Williams, and my guest is His Worship Ubraj Narine, Mayor of the City of Georgetown. We are discussing political domination. The City of Georgetown is under siege. I refer, Mr. Mayor, to Article 34 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, which says, and I quote, "It is the duty of the state to enhance the cohesiveness of the society by eliminating discriminatory distinctions between classes, between town and country, and between mental and physical labor." It is clear that with respect to enhancing the cohesiveness of Georgetown, the city of Georgetown, the government is failing. In as far as eliminating discriminatory distinctions between the city of Georgetown and other local authority areas which favor the People's Progressive Party, government of Guyana is failing miserably. Do you, Mr. Mayor, see all of this that is happening to starve the city of Georgetown of resources, to dominate the administration of the city of Georgetown through the local government commission, and to dominate the city of Georgetown and its operations by deploying the military and other agencies in cleanup exercises that are the statutory responsibility of the city, which is being starved of resources? Do you see a motive here that suggests that the People's Progressive Party is out to destroy the city of Georgetown so that they can convince people to give it control to repair? And does it make any sense if that is so?
It makes no sense because I believe we have a wise population. And that's why I'm happy to be on this program today. And I also, a few individuals call me to be on the program. And I will attend because I know for a fact as a young politician and our young people and young scholars going to UG and just finished UG, they need to read the laws of our country. They need to know exactly what is happening in our society. And I want to say this very clear. I have no apology to make. Our Indian brothers and sisters, I'm an Indian, I'm a Kuli man. But our Indian brothers and sisters need to open their eyes and say no more of locked up in a cage by the PPP. And if we tend to be locked up as Indians in a cage, our children and grandchildren will be in that locked up too. Because that is what the PPP, they have a tradition where they will go into the community and speak to the Indians and say, look, we will do this and give you 100,000. And Indian people will be bribed by money. As long you give them 150,000 fishermen, and you give the rice farmers, and you give the cane cutter and so on, they will feel happy because they get a lump sum money. They can do something in their house. They can do something for the children, and they will praise the government. But I want to remind them, don't focus on that 150,000 and that 200,000 what government will give you, because that will not last you forever. They should have focus on investing the 200,000 or 150,000 so that you can able to have something on your table all the time. When I heard at one function the Honorable Guilty Shira make mention 100,000 for disability children and individual who has disability. Hell, man, no. The disability should be given 100,000 every month, and not only a one-time cash grant. They should be given 100,000 every month. If you're speaking of a powerful oil and gas nation, and that is where it bleeds my heart to see our Indian brothers, my Indian brothers and sisters, they are pedaling this direction. It is not good. You have to vote for a government of policy, created proper legislation, who will have your interests. Yes, the AP and UAFC went there, but you cannot compare 23-year to 4-year or 3-year. You had a no confidence motion, which no one ever catered for. So all these things must take in consideration. And I saw many times that my Indian brothers and sisters lash out on the social media and say all things, but they have to realize one day they will suck this out, while the international investors will suck the sugar. They are not seeing, and I'm an Indian, I'm telling you this. My family and myself have been targeted by this government. Last Christmas I was targeted, and I will continue to be targeted. But I want to make mention that I will continue to fight what I believe in, and I will continue to uphold democracy in all corners. I make mention many times that I will work with any government, including this government as mayor, for the benefit of our citizens. Why the government don't want to work with me? What I'm doing wrong? Come and let us talk. The same way the government waived the municipality of Anna Regina NIS. You know what they did to us in Georgetown? Since 1993, the city council owed NIS. I was 3 years old.
I prosecuted the city council from NIS.
Right?
On behalf of NIS.
Yeah, 3 years old. I was 3 years old, city council with NIS. We met with NIS. We started to make some payment. They advised us to write the board to waive the interest. Only recently I received a copy of that. You know what NIS said? That they will not waive any interest. You know, upon that, the Minister of Finance went on the air and said NIS will prosecute all agencies that owe them for NIS. So and while the same government waived the municipality of Anna Regina NIS.
And withholds your subventions.
And withhold the subvention. Yeah. So these are things. And when you speak of racism, I saw one minister make so much Afro-Guyanese get scholarship and all these things. I saw this morning on the Sand and Quarry list, only one Afro-Guyanese is a holder of a license, while all others is Indian. I'm not saying Indian and Afro must not get it, but we must be distributed equally. All parties must get equally, right? And the same thing we face in the city council. And you do the calculation, or where the government show to this public, and I'm challenging the government to do so. The municipalities that controlled by this government, the PVP government, you see, you let it show the allocation for a year and show the APNU municipality allocation. You will see the big difference.
I doubt they will disclose that kind of information. I believe that what needs to happen is that the city of Georgetown needs to put its package together and present it to the people. We're on the road to local government elections. According to the GCOM schedule, which is a whole other issue.
Well, I can say make mention of this in my constituency, the list that they recently give to us, and we work in the list in our area. Many people relocated from the area. A few people died, and the one incident we come across where the little boy is only 14 and his name is on the list.
On the voters list.
On the voters list. So all of these are infraction, and we have to deal with those things.
Let's talk a little bit about Albaistown. All of the streets in Albaistown are in bad shape. Every single street in Albaistown requires repairs, maintenance, upgrading. The city has been starved of the resources and cannot itself effect these works. But the central government comes into the area ignoring the conditions under which the people of Albaistown must live, and determined that they were going to do the boulevard so that the people can relax and enjoy this atmosphere that they're going to create. Now, how do you reasonably even attempt to justify that kind of action when you neglect people's quality of life and you put a project in place that creates the false impression that all is well, while at the same time you deny the city council, the statutory body, the opportunity and the right to effectively do its work?
Look, Albaistown is a history by itself, but you can't get away or run away from the fact that the entire area, Albaistown, Charlestown, need proper development. The roads, they're terrible, in a terrible state. And you're so right. The time you will take to go do a boulevard enhancement project
and displace people as well.
Displace many people. I went on the ground and I fought for those people to get some kind of finance so that they can able to relocate it and have something going. The resources should be plugged in the road development, the other areas of infrastructure of drainage, lights, and so on in Albaistown and Charlestown. But you see, all of this here is called mekwok. I'm using the Creolese. Mekwok mean that there's nothing to do but you find work. Forgive these contractors so you pocket benefit, the party pocket benefit, and other benefits. Like I said, it's a one circle. You get there in the circle, you have to get something. So I just put it this way, mekwok. This government will see a good road and go and dig it up and say them put in concrete road. That is a mekwok for me, right? So there's other areas tying in need of resources. And if we at the city council get those resources, we will able to do better work than some of the ministry and much far cheaper than the ministry is doing.
You have at the moment under consideration the solid waste bill. The solid waste bill envisages a role for the city council. What is preventing this bill from moving forward to debate and passage?
Only recently that was sent to the office of the mayor. The solid waste bill, proposed solid waste bill by the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development. The bill is a bill of authority which now you will take away the power from the municipalities.
So this is the intention behind the bill.
Yes, the bill now they will be established like how you got a local government commission, a body.
Mm-hmm.
They will establish a salvage management authority, a body, which will control the municipalities the NDC's garbage disposal. So now it is your taxpayer money, but yet you will come to the council, but you have a next, now you're circumventing democracy. You're circumventing the authority of the council because you're creating little bodies and commission and take away the power from the council. So now what you will do with the solid waste bill, in certain clause, it state that the state will be in charge now of the garbage, while the municipality should be in charge of the garbage. You're paying the municipality taxes. That is our duty. The bill should be something to guide the municipality in a more proper way, and the citizens: collection, recycling, waste to energy. These are things the bill should be guided the municipality and the NDC to do. We only recently signed an MOU with a company in UK to move the garbage within the city from waste to energy. We plan to set up that within the city, a very small one, which will take away, take off a lot of garbage as well. So no longer we have to go to the landfill. We'll do it here. No fume or anything will imitate from that project. Now you have a bill which will be debated and which will be passed by the one seat you make mention, which again will stifle the city council and the other municipality and NDC. Because the body that you will establish, the minister will have to select this body. And the chair will be appointed by the minister. So the power gone back directly to the minister. So you therefore don't need a council. So you are breaking and taking away the laws, the authorities of these local authorities in this form. So before you preach democracy, you're circumventing democracy in a different way. Well, look, the local government are already controlling the staff. I will establish one now to control the garbage. Then I will establish one to like the one window for building plans. I will take away that power now again from them. I will establish a special body to deal with the one window plans, to deal with building plans for the country. Right? So automatically, the city council will be dormant. And many people don't know the process and the procedure with building plans. Everybody blames the city council, while the plan has to go to GWI for 2 months, and then it will come back to the city council, go to housing for next three months, then go to the fire service, then come back to us. It's not our fault. What you should have done is say, look, we'll have a round table 3 times a month with all the agencies. Bring your stamp, bring your policy, what you're looking for on this plan.
And deal with the issues.
And deal with the plan immediately on the round table, stamp and sign it off. Because you already established a policy, what your agency is working with, what my agency is working with. And we deal with the plan. So the people can collect them plan within 3 days. But when you're taking away the power now, while you have a system which is not working. I agree it is not working. I'm not disagreeing. And it's not the level of the city council. You submit your plan to the council has to send it to public health. It will take a week or 3 weeks there. Come back to us, have to go to GWI, it will take months there. Come back to us, go to housing, it will take the next few months there. People plan that housing for 6-7 months, something years. Then come back to us, you go to the fire service. Then you go come back to us and say, then we can, when all these agencies satisfied, then we go sign off.
So as it is now, the administration of the Georgetown Mayor and City Council is dominated, is controlled, is manipulated by the local government commission.
That's right, the local government commission.
What is intended now is for a solid waste bill to control the operations
of the salaries
of the Georgetown Mayor and City Council.
Yeah.
And then the single window for approval is likely to take away building approval from the City Council, which has to manage the city and all properties there.
That's right.
This cannot be respect for local democracy. This cannot be respect for the rule of law. This cannot be respect for the local authority system. It cannot be respect for the devolution of power down to the local authority areas. This is absolute disrespect. What does the mayor and city council, in the next few minutes that's available to us, what, if anything, does the mayor and city council intend to do to challenge the government on its excesses and to protect the rights of citizens of the city of Georgetown?
But on that level, we already challenge the Local Government Act. However, those bills has to be challenged by the parliamentarian, because we are not the level of the parliamentarian or the legislation arm of our country. And those things will have to be debated in parliament, and I hope both government and opposition can able to debate wisely and see the wisdom of the nonsense the government is going to do with this kind of bill, is to usurp the authority of the municipalities and the NDCs. And I'm speaking very strongly on the solid waste bill and the one window, which I don't have I have nothing against the one window, but it got ways which we can do it, and not to take away the authority which they outlined it at a consultation we had. And this consultation, many times you go, it's people from Trinidad who come here and tell us how to run our country. You know, they don't know anything about my country. They don't know anything about my local government system. But they come here and tell us, look. And one of the guy who's a Trinidadian stood up and said to the council, when we asked the question if we do not respond in time, the gentleman said, well, the agency will go ahead and approve the plan. What nonsense, right? This is the kind of behavior we got so-called consultant coming into this country and tell the Guyanese people. So the Guyanese people need to wake up.
So you have a 70-seat majority, which renders the city council toothless.
Yeah.
And the PPP has a 1-seat majority in the National Assembly, which makes it all powerful and renders the opposition
Right.
extremely weak. This is an abuse of the principles of democracy. It is abuse. It is, my own hope is that the international community, those represented here in Guyana through the various diplomatic missions, are taking note of what the People's Progressive Party is doing to democracy in this country and how they're in fact bringing to bear naked political power to suppress, to control, to dominate the lives of Guyanese people. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you very much for being on the program Nation Watch today. Viewers, I thank you very much for joining us and for staying with us throughout this program. I trust that you are better aware now of what's happening in the city of Georgetown, those of you who live here, and I trust that it will enlighten you to the point of action. I thank you very much for joining us and pray God that you be safe until we meet again next Sunday, same time, same place. God bless.